Welcome to the Talking Shh podcast. That's right. We'll be talking about music, albums, live shows, bands we love, bands not so much. Again, we're talking shh. Join me, Scott Nokon, and Stephen James. And we are back for another week, another show. This is Scott, Stephen, episode 44. 44. Reggie Jackson. If you know Reggie Jackson,
do it.
You got to know Reggie Jackson. Come on.
Let's do it.
Yeah, 44.
Hey, you pulled that out. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, really quick, because we always go right.
I know.
Right on script. So, I was out in California, and Stephen, I will see you in 2 weeks, and so
Yes.
all that will be good. This was
Yes.
a lot of family scheduled items, which I may never talk about, or I may talk about in a future episode, but a lot of really good things. I'm sure what will transpire in the coming months could be worth a few episodes. So
cool.
In that, I'll make the one comment. So we were walking into this, walking down the street and going into a store, and it was this old, well, I don't know if it was old, but old time candy they had in there. So they have a lot of
like taffy and
and then they had all like foreign brands. You could get like a Japanese Kit Kat that's with
like mint or something.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. I'm like, what is it? Yeah. But they had a whole box of you remember the Reggie
of course
bar? It's like where I go, do they still? Clearly, because you wouldn't have candy from what
it's like
40 years ago, 45 years ago. You wouldn't be, it would be freaking like a rock.
They stick it in the freezer for preserve.
It's made somewhere, and I haven't done it yet, and maybe I'll just go on. We talked about hobbies in our last episode, as well as some other things, and welcome again, episode 44, talking about Reggie Jackson, unplanned.
No,
but the Reggie bar, right? Was it the Reggie? Mm-hmm. It's not a bar. It's more of kind of like a circle little patty,
like a cake or something.
Yeah, it was chocolate. It was nougat, right? Was it nougat or caramel? Yes. Don't you love nougat? Yeah, caramel and some nuts in it. But the Reggie bar. But I'm like, oh my god, like that brought back like memories when I was a kid.
So cool.
I need to do this, and this will take me. I won't do it right now, I promise, Stephen. But this would probably take 5 seconds, if that, to find. Oh, can you still buy, old school candy? And clearly, there's the people bought the rights, and they're producing it because they had a whole box of it, and they're selling them for like $5 each.
Even Lemonheads are still being sold.
Still around, yeah. I did buy an Abba Zaba.
Yeah,
and I didn't lose
that white.
I didn't lose any of my dental work that I went through all last year.
I've already got it cracked.
Just like chewing it, it's like, oh, I love this thing.
I love sour stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't
sour
a big
candies.
sour candy guy, but then I tried it, like Nerds, and then those things can be they can cause some trouble.
They definitely.
We'll go up and watch a movie upstairs, and I won't have like a big bowl. I in my head I get the little side dishes where you would put some, I don't know, like soy sauce or wasabi. Why I'm saying those things, but something like a little small.
Sushi at your movies?
Yeah. A little tiny, like almost a comically small bowl to say, oh well, I only have 47 nerds in there, and they're all falling all over, but I'm only put it in this little funny bowl. But
my favorite at going to movies is popcorn and red vines.
Oh yeah. That's like old school,
Yeah.
And so, never being a big fan of the sour, more of the savory, but I had the sour. So like the Nerds, and good. Then these aren't really. They're not sweet, not sour. I guess they're a little sweet, but the what is it called?
The Nerds are those little tiny ones, right?
Yeah, they look like
there's like grape and
something.
Yeah,
they look like something from, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not the
Yeah.
chocolate, but the
Yeah.
other
Yeah. I
stuff.
like those. There's a
Yeah.
little bob.
Um,
Yeah. Nerds are good.
the not it's not jellyfish, Swedish fish.
Oh, yeah. Swedish fish.
Oh
Good
my
stuff.
God.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm like, because around the holidays, and beyond the holidays, just to admit that I guess there's a thing. And again, who knew that we're going to tune in, and God knows where we're going on this show, Stephen. But there's, I know you're a big fan of TikTok and everything as you're having one of your candies, probably, right?
Yeah. Had to throw one
So
in.
this is our candy episode, guys. Welcome to our candy episode.
Yeah.
But there's a thing called a candy salad. Candy
What?
salad. And you take like 10 different, and again, if you just Google it, you can find it on Instagram, probably on Pinterest, on
Doesn't
TikTok.
surprise me.
Yeah, but you just mix just different candies together, and you just devour it. And that's why like having it around the house can be dangerous. But you put it in like the big oversized mason jars.
Yeah.
And literally there's people that they're putting it into this big bowl, then they're stirring it all together,
Holy
and then
moly.
they're pouring it into it and put the lid on it. There's some good shit in there, I'll tell you.
Oh my Lanta.
Yeah, it's
And
like
I'm
that's
sure
why
Dennis...
I try to redeem. It's complete bullshit, but I go, oh, let me put a little tiny bowl and just drop a few things in there.
Yeah.
Let alone if I go back like 10 times. But it's the portion.
Yeah, we grew up around real quick. We'll talk last candy thing. We grew up when we were younger. It was Spanish peanuts and candy corn mixed in a bowl, so you have sweet and savory.
Yeah,
and it was like candy corn's the grossest candy in the world, but when you have it with a couple of Spanish peanuts, you're like, well, it just kind of works. And
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, circus peanuts,
yes,
peanuts.
Yeah,
I love those too.
Yeah.
Cracker.
Yeah, and there was like going to a baseball game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get a thing of cracker or peanuts, and you just drop the shells all over the ground.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's funny walking into that store, and then one of the first things I saw was the Reggie bar.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, God.
I think they've got there's a candy store in Vegas that has. I don't know if it's a Kit Kat store, the Reese's store, but you walk through there and you see things, you're like, I've never seen these before. I want one of each.
Yeah.
Just to try it.
Yeah. Because some of those, like, we went into, because, whenever you go into not a new city, but you visit, a city you lived in forever, you go into the mall.
Mm-hmm.
So we were cruising through Mission Viejo Mall, and it's like, and that's all we did, Steve, for a week straight. We were just in the mall. No, we were in there to grab something, but you walk through, and some of the stores are like, how are you even open?
Right.
Like what? Like you're selling like thimbles or something. And eventually, I think malls will just cease to exist, right? They've already taken a big change. There's still some cool places that are kind of those open air mall.
Yeah.
And mall is really not the right term, but it's more of the open air shopping center.
Right.
There's some cool restaurants. All those, tend to work out just fine. But in that, going through that mall, and they had one of those candy shops as well. And so we went in there. I didn't buy anything because it was even more overpriced. But yeah, there's like a section in the middle of things from, 30, 40, 45 years ago that you didn't even realize were around anymore. So
isn't that crazy?
Clearly, I could Google, which I'll do after the show, and just see, hey, there obviously is wholesalers that sell all this stuff. Again, not that I need to go buy pallets full of that. But if you wanted to put out, there were other sports related candy, which again, I'm sure there's probably a whole like YouTube show on that, where
I wouldn't be surprised.
You could kind of have like you could use that because baseball cards and all that. This is
a bubble gum
completely separate episode, because I've been getting back into that, and I won't bore you now on that. But it's like you could have like the old school sports related candy, and beyond Reggie, I know there was a few other things. Probably Pete Rose had something at some point.
It was probably a betting candy.
Yeah, it was a betting. Yeah. Anyway, I was stoked to see the Reggie bar.
That's so cool.
I should have bought one just to have it, just for
Or you could have
nostalgia.
bought two and ate one and said, "Look, I got another one."
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
Just
sure I'll
to
see it
reminisce,
again. Yeah.
reminisce.
So here we are, episode 44.
Yeah,
Not
here we
about
go.
candy, but
Yeah.
Stephen.
So here we go. And we haven't talked about Udo in a long time. Not that
That's true. Yeah.
this is kind of partially Udo. Wolf Hoffman, the guitar player for Accept, on their 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Not every band is lucky enough to be around for a long time. And he talks about having, a couple different singers, which I really, if they're going to do a 50th anniversary, they should have Udo instead of the other guy, which we've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't Mark Tornillo, is that his name?
Mark
I can't.
Torreno or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But kind of cool. The milestone needs to be celebrated. Better way to do it. So they're gonna excuse my cough. That's rude. We only have one chance to do a 50th anniversary. I don't think we'll get another one. With all optimism, I don't think I'll be around for another 50 years from now, which I don't know that we all
that's
either,
probably
but have a little positive attitude. They're talking about re-recording some of the songs on the B side, which would be kind of fun to hear them re-record. Fast as a Shark. I don't know that.
Yeah,
that
Restless
often,
and Wild.
yeah,
Balls to the Wall.
Yeah, some good stuff. So I
Absolutely.
thought, oh God, I mean, that we were talking about longevity in our previous couple of videos, that 50 years with this band. This guitar player was 16 years old when he first started this band. And it just reminds me of being a kid when I first started playing in a band. I was 17 in a heavy metal band playing Waters Club, and it was just a dream come true to be able to do all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it says regarding whether former Accept members Udo and Peter Balte's bass will be invited to take part in the 50th anniversaries tour, perhaps as just in the form of guest appearance at select shows, which I call, for me, it's like, no. If you're bringing the whole band back on a 50th anniversary, it's like, let's have the original members. What do you think?
I would agree. It's there's been a number of bands we've talked about on this show that should, could, or will never
here we go. Yeah.
Do
right.
I was going to say a review, a reunion, and they'll probably do a review too.
It will be a review too.
Yeah. So Sabbath, which let's talk a little about that really quick.
Oh yeah.
So we did a whole show on this. Again, thanks guys for tuning in and listening to that. A lot of good plays and comments. But what came out, and again, for a little bit of context for you guys that maybe haven't gone back, and we please go back and check out all the shows. But in May of 24, way back when, we're 25. I had to think that for a second, Stephen. Yeah,
it's not crazy.
We were talking about, if Sabbath would get back together and do one final show, they'd have to do it with Bill Ward, and so that came to fruition. Asterisk, quote unquote, maybe. Because now it's been announced, the tickets went on sale and sold in a few minutes. No discussion I've heard yet. I saw some joke post about a second show, and then when you actually looked at all the artists, it was complete,
BS.
It wasn't valid. But it's like, do a second show, but okay, are you going to actually do a first show? Because now it's coming out that Ozzy, either he said this or Sharon said it, but bits and pieces. He's
doing a few songs.
He will do bits and pieces. And when you look at all the artists, and when the bits and pieces came out, I'll say that 10 more times, I promise. That same day, Kibbles and Bits. That same day.
They had that in your candy shop you went to.
Yeah. I was going to say another candy. I won't do that. Wait. Yeah. What is it? It's not a Chico stick. What was it? It was like a. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll have to remember.
Was it like almost like an old thing? You dip it in two different kind of sour stuff.
Well, there was Fun Dip. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go. Back to candy.
Fun Dip for sure. But speaking of Fun Dip, so in the final show, when the when the news came out from Ozzy that he's going to do, you know, parts of songs,
Yeah.
to compensate for it or to do somewhat of a diversion. Everything's a diversion in the news these days, right?
Yeah.
They added Guns N' Roses, they added Rival Sons and Tool. So in that full sets, we don't know yet. Tom Morello is the kind of the music coordinator for the whole day. So interested to see how they plan, and
Yeah.
also not to repeat everything we've talked about before, but okay, it's sold out even with all these bands, and even if it's a little bit of Ozzy doing, you know, originals, and then you have Maynard maybe doing Crazy Train like he did on the Rock and Roll Hall of
Right.
Fame induction. Um, is that how it's going to play out? Like
Oh yeah.
these
I
bands
didn't
are
think
going to
about
be
that.
more doing guest spots and playing
Like,
songs.
yeah,
You know
like
what? That's
Hetfield.
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Every, you know, like the comments around it were, see, I told him, you know, I told you that Sharon was going to come and pull a fast one. It's like,
I think that's
okay,
it. He's not well.
yeah, it's like he's 76. Okay.
Yeah. He can't even
Because
walk.
what, 3 days ago when we record this, Tony Iommi turned 77.
Yeah.
Not shocking at all, given, you know, these guys, you know, have been around 55 years,
He's marrying Joseph.
since their first record came out. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, I know how old I am. I act like I'm 12, but I know
I
my
did too.
age. Um, yeah, they're going to be
I
up
still
there.
feel like
So
I'm 12.
can you? Yeah, totally. Can you do a set? Probably not.
No,
Will it be a cool show? Probably
absolutely.
so. Should it be on pay-per-view? Pay-per-view, yes. It's for charity. So, you know, if you pony up
I'd even pay $100.
$99, you know,
Yeah,
$100,
ideally.
$50, whatever.
Whatever.
So again, we talked all about that before, but it's more a matter of, is it going to be a celebration of Ozzy and Sabbath? I think so. I think that's what it's going to end up being.
Sure.
I think probably more artists are going to be added. Um, and
And I'd be willing to bet that all the artists that are playing will do probably an Ozzy or a Black Sabbath song
yeah,
as a cover to, to honor that
I think
the
so.
the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, totally. So in that, what was all this just a bait and switch? I don't think so. I
No,
think it was intended to really
no.
kind of get it back together. You know, again, the money's going to charity. So say what you will
Ah,
about, you know, money, you know, cash grab, money grab. No one is
no,
hurting for money on that. So that's
no.
that's that's not even it.
Look at the lineup. I mean,
Yeah,
for crying out
that's
loud.
not even it. It would be cool, and I'm sure they'll put it together that you can buy merch online somewhere, right? Since there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that probably would have wanted to go, and only 40,000, and that's capacity. So actual tickets in hand is probably, you know, what, 2/3 of that.
They play
But
at the O2 Arena. Do we know?
no, it's at the Aston Villa soccer stadium.
Oh,
But
even bigger.
it's like 40,000 though, you know.
Wow, that's
So it's
crazy.
not like, you know, SoFi and in Inglewood and the Coliseum where, you know, 80,000 for a big stadium,
Right.
100,000 for some other places like the Rose Bowl. You could put that many people in there. There's these soccer stadiums in England. They're smaller by design. You know, 40,000's, you know, still two arena two arena fulls. Well, I'll say that.
That's big.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, it's looking forward to it. It's going to be here before we know it, first week of July. Uh, in that,
Interesting
Stephen,
to see. What do you think the ticket costs were? Did you ever get a chance to look?
yeah, I was out of town, and not that the internet doesn't work, but I was actually I was on a plane when the tickets went on sale. So I didn't even try to get into the queue, but I know of people, don't know people personally, know of people that they took screenshots and they were posting it. They were 100,000th in the queue, you know. So it's like
You're
you have
not
no
getting a
no
ticket.
chance in hell of getting
No.
anything. And they posted the prices. I think there was like a VIP level, which maybe was like $500. I think maybe it was like 125 for general admission. So they're
low. No,
yeah,
that
so
might be
they're
in pounds though, or
in
euros.
pounds, yeah. So what does that end up being?
I
Maybe
don't know. But if you were to just say 40,000 times 500, let's
yeah,
just say an average, that's $20 million.
yeah, yeah. So
That's a lot of cash. And whether or not you get VIP, you don't know what your VIP is. I mean, you and I kind of jokingly said, yeah, what do you think it costs to take a flight over to the UK?
yeah,
Especially you're closer than I am. But and to go and then to get room and board, food. I mean, that's you have to be diehard. Not that I'm not,
yeah.
but that's just not in my
Yeah,
wheelhouse
it's
pull
to
that off.
say, just being on a trip this past week, um, and
Car rental
and knowing what it costs. Like if you go to a show, you're easily putting out 2 grand for that,
easily.
like to fly there, for hotel, for meals, for the ticket. So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
um,
Anyhow,
I wanted to mention, because we haven't done this for a while, and I say now that we'll make this a normal part, but it may or may not be normal, but we'll try, right, Stephen?
what's
So
normal?
new music. So a lot of new music came out yesterday. We're recording on a Saturday. So February 21st, let's just run through a couple of these, and feel free to comment, Stephen, if you
Bring
well,
it.
I think one of these, and I'll just put it out there. The second band I mentioned, I'm sure you'll have plenty to discuss.
Do it.
Kill Switch Engage. This
Yeah.
consequence, Metalcore Titans return with a powerful blend of melodic hooks and crushing riffs,
Hmm.
adding to their compelling chapter to their legacy. I've heard a couple of these tracks already on Sirius. Good stuff. I've always liked them. They've always been consistently good. Really just top notch band. I think I saw them years ago, but yeah, I'll definitely check that out, and we'll certainly probably play some of that on my upcoming radio show.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
this is the band, and I'm totally kidding that you'll have any comments on this one. The band name is Pissgrave, and it's wow, I can't even get it out. Malignant worthlessness. Dive into the abyss with Pissgrave's third full length, delivering unrelenting and raw death metal that pushes the genre's boundaries.
Piss grave.
Pissgrave.
Wow.
Abduction,
Okay.
existentialism, this UK based black metal outfit, brutal atmospheric experience. I'll probably put them on my show.
Yeah, you got to
Drug,
play it so we can
yeah,
hear it,
I
at
will. I'd
least.
actually every band I'm mentioning, I will play this Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we have to hear it. Piss
Drugs
grave.
of
That's
Faith,
hilarious.
asymmetrical, yeah, a potent mix of punk, grindcore, and rock, packed
Okay.
into a 21-minute assault reflecting the turmoil of pandemic era songwriting.
I'm
Okay.
in it. I'm
Drugs of
down.
Faith. This is a band. Check these guys out. And they made my top 24 of 24 on the No Consideration radio
Hey.
show.
Hey.
Scour. Scour.
Okay.
I'll say it, but then I'm going to tell you who's in it. Then they'll go, oh, I got to check them out.
Yeah.
Scour's latest release continues their blackened grindcore assault, promising a relentless auditory experience. Their vocalist,
Relentless.
their vocalist, you want to take a guess? Just
No.
all right, probably good choice. Phil Anselmo.
No shit.
Yeah. So Scour,
Wow.
Scour, Scour.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it. Again, I played that's one of their tracks on that. Again, all these records are out. Records, I can't help but say record.
Yeah,
Available
yeah.
on major
Sure.
streaming platforms and physical formats. So check them out. And again, it's
Selma.
melodic
Wow.
deathcore, raw death metal, experimental grindcore. It's a little bit of something for everyone.
I guess.
Yeah.
If Phil's singing, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely something good to check out. You know
Wow.
what? Um,
While we're at it, real quick, Primus
yeah.
has a new drummer.
Yeah, I heard the guy, I don't even remember his name now.
John
If he's
Hoffman is the new drummer.
okay. So
This
where's
guy,
he from? Yeah.
he I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe Midwest, but this guy, when I watch some of his videos, this guy shreds it, and when you watch him play, you're like, yep, no wonder why they picked this guy. And
Yeah.
actually on their website, they're doing kind of like a montage of drummers that they auditioned. I watched one yesterday on the Primus
Okay.
channel. Um,
Nice.
Les is a maniac bass player. Obviously, was fascinated with Geddy Lee. So,
Hmm.
but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, just want to throw that little bit of tidbit in.
Yeah.
Primus does have a new drummer, and after months of seeking, they finally narrowed the list down to this guy. And if you guys get a chance, check him out, John Hoffman. Go to his YouTube page, Hoffman, John. So
Nice.
anyhow, that was
Little,
a
a
little
little,
music tidbit.
no, that's awesome. Always been a fan of Primus. Saw them
Yeah.
a couple years, well, a couple, probably six, 6 or 7 years ago now. They did a co-headline with, it just left my mind.
Well, just so you
Mastodon.
know, 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah, they did. 2 years ago, they actually did a tribute to for Neil Peart.
Yeah.
They played, I think it was Caress of Steel. I don't know what album they played, but they went out and did an entire Rush album
That's
concert.
right. Yep.
It's fantastic. My elder brother went to go see it, so I was like,
Nice.
that's cool.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. And again, yeah, seeing them with Mastodon, that was at the Greek Theater. Um,
Mastodon's
yeah,
so good.
yeah,
It's
that
a
was
great
fun.
band.
Um, a little Primus trivia, Stephen,
Yeah, let's do it.
if you like to
Let's
play
click.
along. The guitarist Larry Lalonde.
Larry Lalonde.
Which band was he in prior to Primus?
Holy crap. You stumped me.
Possessed.
No kidding.
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Saw Possessed a number of times
Wow.
in the mid 80s.
What a
Saw
great
them.
name for a
Oh yeah,
stage
they're
name,
still
Larry
going strong
Lalonde.
today. The but yeah, saw them at Fenders a few times with
Fender
some great
Smaller.
shows. I think one of them there was a Celtic Frost Possessed show. There was Possessed and Viking, Possessed and Dark Angel. You know,
Was
all that.
Brandon Viking at the time?
He was. Yes. Yes, he
I know,
was. Yeah.
there's still a little bit of disdain there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, real quick, I have one
Yeah.
last quick shout out
Yes.
for our metal news that bassist Fieldy has not spoken to Korn since 2019. He was the bass player, or
Yep.
might still is be the bass player for Korn, and left due to whatever issues. He's got a side project going on. I thought it was interesting because he's an amazing bass player.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he's doing some new stuff, and the guy that sits in for him now, I can't remember his name. Oh, Ra Diaz is
Yes.
the guy that steps in for him, which is he's another phenomenal bass
Oh, he
player.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's interesting to when you when you excuse me, apologies. When you see these bands that are playing and you're like, oh, what's not the original members? It's like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be them, as long as they're fitting the bill and doing their thing. But Fieldy was the original or is the original bass player for Korn. So just want to
Yeah.
throw that little
No, for
tidbit.
sure. I saw something too on
2019.
I think Rock Feed was one of the pages I check out on YouTube. And yeah, I didn't realize that he had not even spoken with them in
I didn't
6 years.
either. I didn't either.
I never knew the full story, and I'm not
I
really going to
didn't. Yeah.
get into it. Again, it's extremely difficult to even be in a band, let alone keep all the same members
Yeah.
together. Virtually impossible. Some do it, but others can't. And then if you have any modicum of success, then you have all the challenges that go along with it. You
Yeah.
have all this idle time, and you on a stage for an hour with the sound check, before. So, not saying anything, just in the
No.
fact that it's an incredibly, it can be hugely rewarding, but also incredibly difficult to kind of maintain any semblance of just a normal life.
I mean, you and I both have been in bands for, since we were younger.
Yeah.
And it's difficult at times. We both know, you want it to just continually keep creating and creating, and then it just falls apart. And you're like, gee, why? And it's tough. So I get it. Whatever they're going through mentally or physically or in their personal lives, everybody has to go through their own thing, and you want to wish everybody the best of health and luck.
Absolutely. So yeah, in that, again, didn't realize it was 6 years. I saw that
Yeah,
that story as
crazy.
well. Thank you for mentioning it. And
Yeah,
there was also an interview they did, some different page. They met up at his house. He lives in Orange County, and
yeah.
they kind of toured the house and just talked to him. I only watched about half that interview, but he seemed in good spirits. He seemed healthy. Um, Again, traveling the world multiple times, it can be tough. So again,
Sure.
kind of harkens back to what we said on the last episode. Somewhere you have to maintain balance, right?
Sure.
You have to decide what's right for you, and maybe being in a major touring band isn't for you right now, and
Right.
that's
Well,
okay.
and it's like you and I talked about previously about our own personal jobs that we're working with. It's like there's times where it's tough, and we have to figure out if that's right for us and move on. But
Yeah,
I made a career change as we talked about previously, so I get it. I totally get it.
absolutely, absolutely. So Stephen, I don't know if I'm gonna say we've done it all, because I'm not really sure what we even talked about on this episode. But in that regard, I think we're gonna call it for this week. Definitely coming up. We're gonna get into um, you know talking about touring and maybe some of the trials and tribulations with any band,
It's a great
any
episode. Sure.
genre, like how difficult and what is
Yeah,
really the future of touring. So a
yeah,
little
it's a
tease,
great.
little tease for you guys,
Yes.
because I think that'll be kind of interesting to kind of dig into it, because it's so difficult. There's a lot of reunion uh, shows in the spring and fall. Oasis, who we've mentioned repeatedly on this show,
They're coming
um,
here too now.
yeah,
I just
they
saw.
are. Yeah, My Chemical Romance. Um,
Wow.
they're playing
When I
stadiums.
was a young,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, they're playing
good
stadiums, and I'm
band
like,
though.
yeah, yeah, always good songs. They were away for years. I don't know the backstory on that, but
Be fun to
they
look
have a
into.
revolving door of opening artist,
I
which
think
is kind of cool.
their last drummer passed away. I want to say
He
I heard.
did, yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
very sad.
But
An
I think he had been
amazing
away.
drummer.
He'd been away from the band for years,
Yeah,
even
but
like as part of their hiatus, they already had a different member. But the show in Chicago, that's at the football stadium, Soldier Field. They have Devo opening for him.
oh my,
That's
would
kind of cool.
love to go
Yeah,
see Devo.
yeah. So anyway,
Good,
we'll
good
talk about the future touring, and kind of all the challenges related to that. But that will
for
be coming
sure.
up in an episode soon. So until then,
Yes,
guys, and again, I got to
thank
do it
you.
because I didn't do it last episode. So again, it's getting a little bit, well, this week, Stephen, when I flew back, it was in the negative with wind chill when I came back and landed here. But in California, it was in the, high 60s, low 70s,
Yeah,
and
we
spring
don't
is
get.
just around the corner.
Yeah,
So
I
fire
don't
up
like
those
it.
grills, right?
Yeah,
Fire up
fire
those
those meals.
barbecues. Again, Wheelie Q, great
Oh,
friend of the
please.
show and partner with Colin and Kyla. They were hand filling hundreds of barbecue sauce bottles in their kitchen, and they had two simple yet powerful goals: craft a delicious barbecue sauce from simple, honest ingredients and use their business to make a difference. That's how Wheelie Q Barbecue came to life. Colin, who was born with spinal muscular dystrophy. Sorry, I didn't want to butcher this one. Sorry, Colin.
You're doing
Colin, who was
good.
born
You're
with
doing fine.
spinal muscular atrophy, has faced the challenges of
Doing
a
good.
life altering condition with incredible resilience. When his condition forced him to quit his job in 2013, he didn't give up. Instead, he turned his passion for barbecue into a thriving family business. Wheelie Q isn't just about great flavor, it's about raising awareness for SMA and donating a portion of profits to fund research for a cure.
Amazing.
Today, Wheelie Q Barbecue is producing their original recipe barbecue sauce by the thousands, and it's expanded their product line to include a barbecue rub, salt, pepper, and garlic seasoning, and ancho espresso seasoning.
Yummy.
Absolutely. At Wheelie Q, every bottle supports a greater cause, and every seasoning will elevate the flavor of anything you cook. Thank you for choosing Wheelie Q Barbecue and helping Colin and Kyla make a difference.
Yes.
One delicious meal
Please
at a time.
Help out.
Go to their website. That's Wheelie Q Barbecue at Wheelie Q. That's WHEELY.com. That's WHEELYQ.com. And at checkout, put in the coupon code TSP20 and you'll get 20% at checkout. Wheelie Q Barbecue.
Please help out. And then a couple more plugs, which I love to do on our shows is Scott's does a radio show on Tuesdays on 99 WNRR. It's his version of whatever he wants to play. It's an amazing show. Listen, if you guys want to hear some really good metal music, whether it's whatever you play. And
just
one of my favorite
different stuff.
Yeah, it's different stuff. And then one of my favorite things he does is called Triple Thrashback, where he plays 3 songs from the OG back in the 80s, which is truly amazing.
Yep.
But the entire show is so much. I love when he'll send me the text, whether I'm driving home or I'm at work or I'm at home. I put it on and I'm just down with it. It's such a good show. So. No Consideration Radio, 99 WNR. It's on Tuesdays, and Scott will tell you the time frame.
Yeah, it's 6 Central, 7 East, 4 on the West.
There we go.
Yeah.
And lastly, I want to make one quick plug to what I'm wearing today, because the Ouija Brothers are an amazing paranormal, non-fake channel. The guys that have so much fun doing what they do. I've been a part of them for almost 2 years. They're such good guys. If you guys want to watch some fun, hilarious comedy, well, I don't know, it's not comedy, but the way these guys interact, the Ouija Brothers are on YouTube, nice. And they do such a fun investigation of the paranormal, and they're not fake like 98% of it that is on the internet. So, with that.
No, for sure. The Ouija Brothers, and what are their names again? I know you mentioned them.
Steve and Jason. They go by Steve and Griff. Steve and Griff.
D and Griff. Well, check them out. And guys, as always, we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time. Again, you can find us anywhere podcast will stream, which is everywhere. YouTube, we got new episodes dropping all the time. We got the shorts. Like the page, subscribe to it, share it with a friend, do all you can. And as always, we appreciate it. I'll say it one more time. We appreciate it. Stephen.
Absolutely. Thanks for, you guys.
Making the time. And guys, until next week, see ya. Thanks again for tuning in to the show. We'll be back every week with a brand new episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Talking Show, and also listen on Spotify or wherever you can stream a podcast. See ya.